Seems that Bill Gates is having a hard time, and my heart bleeds for the poor man. Before we get into all that, the world's been absolutely crazy. We got a lot of stuff to discuss today, but we are doing the seed pack giveaways from ClearwaterValleyFarms.com. I can't say giveaways because they're awards, and that's taking place over at patreon.com/American Homestead. You can find the information linked below. So you can buy these seed packs for, if you don't have your seeds yet for spring, you better get on it. It's time to plant a garden. I'll be working on my garden today. I got the tractor going to be going up there, and we're going to be doing turning over some soil and planting some corn and some sorghum. But I'm also working in my garden today. Some rains are coming, so it's a great time to be doing that, to get some seeds established. And then also we are doing this perfect pickler pack over at Clearwater Valley Farms. And check that out. This is all the things you need to grow your own probiotics with our kit from theperfectpickler.com. So you can get the seeds over at ClearwaterValleyFarms.com and then combine that with our Perfect Pickler kit, and you will be good to go when it comes to healthy gut. Healthy gut. Okay. All that. One more thing I'll mention is that I will be speaking at next month, in the month of May, Off Grid with Doug and Stacy. So from what I hear, there's a couple tickets left, not much. In fact, they may already be sold out. But if you want to, you can go over to Off Grid with Doug and Stacy, their website. Just Google Off Grid with Doug and Stacy. You'll bring you to the website. Go to the events tab and then check out and see what's available still. And I hope to see you coming up soon. So I got a bunch of stuff planned this summer. I'm looking forward to going out there and meeting a lot of folks. Okay, so old Billy boy. Old Billy Gates, he's upset. He's still trying to push this whole fake beef thing. Let's take a look at the article. Over at naturalnews.com, it says Bill Gates wants to use AI for genetically modifying beef cows to save the planet. It says Microsoft founder Bill Gates has recently discussed how AI could fight climate change on his podcast, Unconfuse Me with Bill Gates. So he understands that there's so many people out there who can't stand him, who thinks he's really trying to do all of this damage. And he is. So he's come out with his own podcast to unconfuse people about who he really is. And it was just the type of unhinged conversation you would expect from the same man who touts synthetic beef depopulation, because he does push heavily, and in the past has pushed heavily depopulation, preventing cows from burping, and experimental geoengineering. So I saw a meme going around on Twitter not that long ago, and it was talking about how Bill Gates says that one cow is like 10 times greater pollution than a car. And then the meme was talking about, well, if you think that's the case, how about I spend the night inside of the garage with the cow, the live cow, and then you spend the night in your garage with the car running, and see who survives till morning. I think that's an excellent suggestion for old Billy boy. He made his latest remarks in an interview with data scientist Hannah Ritchie when their conversation turned to artificial intelligence and its potential utility in addressing environmental issues. He shared his surprise at how quickly the technology has been advancing. I was very stunned how the AIs went from basically not being able to read or write at all to doing that in a very facile way, he told her. When asked if he thought AI could play a role in taking action on the climate, he answered, absolutely. And then he cited the example of genetically modifying beef cattle with AI so that they produce less methane, or using AI to somehow produce meat without the cow. Ritchie pointed out that people are not embracing the idea of meat alternatives, and that's something Gates is also quite familiar with. Of course he is. As he has invested in multiple companies that produce fake meats, such as Impossible Foods, Upside Foods, and Beyond Meat. He has said in the past that all rich countries should move to 100% synthetic beef, and that he is optimistic fake meat products will be a very good alternative for consumers as people are reluctant to cut meat out of their diets. Last November, Beyond Meat cut nearly 20% of its non-production workforce, following plummeting sales as customers eschew the highly processed and unhealthy concoction. Once heavily hyped, its stock has fallen more than 60%. And as an opinion piece in the New York Times recently referred to lab-grown meat as the revolution that died on its way to dinner. That's so true. See, this whole fake meat stuff is they are suffering the same fate. They are suffering the same fate as the EV market. The EV market right now is completely imploding because people have realized that this is a bunch of nonsense. It's not cheaper for me. It's not easier for me. In fact, there are tons of memes coming out on Twitter right now where you see, like, there was a guy the other day in a Ford Lightning truck. And inside the back of his pickup truck, which is an electric pickup truck, he was carrying a gas generator. He had pulled off to the side of the road and had the gas generator running in the back of the pickup truck with a cable running it and charging the vehicle. If you have to carry a generator inside the back of your electric pickup truck, what is the point of that?
That don't make no sense.
But it's getting to that point, guys. And lab-grown meat, fake meat, is suffering the same fate. People don't want it. Electric vehicles, people don't want it. What you're seeing here is two things, electric cars and fake meat being pushed on people with government mandates as a way to save the climate that they have been telling us is going to kill us for the last 60 years. They've been telling us that this is going to kill us. At least since I could say 50 years, 1970s, you had global cooling and people coming out and said, we only have a certain amount of time left before all of humanity is dead. And we're still here, and sea levels are the same. We can find pictures, from 100 years ago that show the exact same sea levels as there are today. It's a bunch of nonsense. You're selling a lie, and that only works for so long. And it's gone way past its expiration date. Gates is also going after cow burps, investing in an Australian startup that is focused on preventing cows from burping methane emissions by feeding them a dietary supplement with a synthetic version of an ingredient in red seaweed that prohibits methane formation. I want my cows to be burping methane producing cows. That's the only way to go when eating my red meat. I don't want your fake meat. I'm never going to buy it. I will continue. This is why I tell homesteaders, you must be producers, because I don't think the government is at a point where they're going to give up on this yet. The manufacturers of the EV market are pushing back really hard. They're ramping down production of their EVs because no one's buying them. They're just sitting on the lot. They're very expensive to maintain. They're very expensive to repair. They're just not good. They're just not good. It's not a good product. And you can only force that into a free market for so long until the government either gives up on their mandate or they force and they get rid of a free market. And then you have communism and dictatorships, and you go down that tyrannical road. So what do I see happening? My personal opinion is that they're going to continue to force this to the point it's going to be painful. So, and painful I mean by price. So what you can do as a homesteader, if you have a little bit of acres, is to grow some chickens, is to grow some sheep, is to grow some goats, God forbid, or maybe have a couple of cows. I have mentioned the strategy before on my channel where people will go to an auction, buy a couple of young steers, and raise those steers until the point where they can be processed, 18 months or whatever, and then they take that one steer and they take him to auction and get the money for it, and then take the other steer and take him to the butcher and put that in the freezer. Then take the money you got from selling that 18-month-old steer and buy 2 more young steers with that money. And then repeat the process, and thus you always have meat. If you have a little bit of land, you can do that. Okay, you still may have to supplement with hay. It's up to you, where that is. But to me, even if I had to supplement and pay for hay, it's worth it to have that meat in the freezer, that grass-fed beef, or that grass-fed lamb, or those chickens, those free-range chickens, because they are coming down. And I think they're going to get a little bit more tyrannical with these initiatives going forward before they finally capitulate and say, okay, this isn't going to work and people are going to rebel and the torches and pitchforks come out. So what do you think? I don't know, but that's where I'm going. In fact, I mean, it's only going to get worse and worse. We know we are headed for economic collapse. We just passed another $95 billion in spending for, 3 countries over there that should be able to take care of themselves. But no, we are funding all that money. And so all that's doing is increasing the inflation that's already happening. I mean, they don't have 95 billion. They just printed it. And now you've got 95 billion. Or what they do is they take $95 billion worth of already in warehouse goods and they send those off to the country and then take that 95 billion and send it to the military industrial complex to make up more weapons of what they just sent out so that they can replace them. Either way, the money's getting spent and it's money we don't have. And there you go. Inflation. It just increases that inflation. You're printing dollars. Money you don't have. You're already $2 trillion over budget. You have a $2 trillion deficit. You don't have the money. At this point, you and I, if we had that credit card, the credit card company would have called a long time ago and said, I'm sorry, this card is no longer working and you owe us a ton of money. And we're going to send this to collections. But if you're the U.S. government, you can keep hitting that printer button over and over and over again until you can't, and every piper has to be paid. What do you think? Leave a comment below. But the way out of all this, for you individually, for you as a family, is to be a producer. To produce your own eggs, produce your own meat, produce your own vegetables. Right now is the time to be going out and getting in that garden. Clearwater Valley Farms has the seeds over there. Before we go, let me go ahead and just talk about this a little bit. There's a lot of ads out there I'm going to go a different direction here than I've gone before. There's a lot of ads out there for different companies that sell you antibiotics. I have never bought from those companies. I have had a number of those companies come to me and say, hey, would you like to endorse our product? And once I looked into it, I was like, absolutely not. And they still bug me all the time with messages in my inbox. Hey, you need to promote our antibiotics to your audience. They can get, good antibiotics, right through the mail. I have had stored antibiotics. I have the fish antibiotics. I have the animal antibiotics. I've got all that stuff stored up. I've never, ever used it in the 12 years 10, 13, whatever it is, years we've been here. I don't need them. Why? Because you can use these things. Now, a few months back, this was about 6 months ago, maybe 7 months ago. In the military, they make a big deal of trying to extract your wisdom teeth. I survived my entire enlistment without getting my wisdom teeth pulled. But they really make a big deal of getting your wisdom teeth pulled in the military, if you've been in the military. Anyway, I had 2 pulled and I had 2 left in there, and I ETS'd before they pulled out my teeth, my wisdom teeth. And one of my wisdom teeth, about 6 months ago, got infected. And it was bad. I mean, it was really bad, and it was really painful. And I was like, oh my gosh, I need to get an appointment. So I call up my dentist and I'm like, hey, I need to get in there. I have an appointment. Oh, I'm sorry. It's going to be about 5 months before we can get you in. 4 to 5 months. Would you like to make an appointment? I'm like, oh my goodness, 5. Okay, fine. Put me down. I don't know what I'm going to do in the meantime, but I'm going to do something. And so, as I've talked about these many times in the past, and I'm probably going to do a video coming up soon because I got all this beautiful mullein coming up out of the ground around my homestead. And so last year I had made a mullein tincture. Okay. And I used the roots and I used the leaves and I used the flowers to make a mullein tincture. I let it sit for about 8 weeks in the vodka, and then I poured it off and I used that mullein tincture every night before I went to bed. I just swished that around my mouth. And within 2 days, my infection was gone. 2 days. 2 days. Infection gone. Now, people are going to prescribe to you antibiotics. They're going to tell you need antibiotics for things like that, infections that may come up, to have those on hand. Now, I just went to my cabinet, got my mullein tincture out, and I swished that around, a little bit of it, swished it around every night. Within 2 days, it was gone. If you buy these books on Amazon, the hard copies, you're going to pay around $800 for one and $900 for the other. The reason they're so valuable is because of the information contained within. Absolutely crazy. This stuff was written over 100 years ago and it's gone. The pharmaceuticals have deleted this completely from the memory of most people around our country today. But you can still get it. If you join my Patreon for as little as $1 a month, I will give you this stuff. I will give you the PDF downloads. You can go get them printed. I know one family that printed them, I think for as little as $20. They bought the ink at Office Depot, and Office Depot spiraled them. You can get them like $20. And there was another company that we had that was doing them for people, printing them off and laminating, full color, everything. And they were charging like $80. Anyway, get them hard copied. Don't keep them in PDF form. Get them hard copy. But I'll give you these books down below. It's the latest edition of these. This is the second edition. I think they have a later edition that was printed in like the early 90s or mid 90s. But this information is 100 years old. This guy lived over 100 years ago. It's long lost info. The pharmaceuticals would rather you just not know about it. This is my medicine cabinet. Okay? Times are going to get crazy. Medical stuff is already insane. If you want to have some significant upside when it comes to knowledge about what you can use, this doesn't tell you how to make tinctures. It tells you why you have the tinctures. It gives you seriously a significant upside when it comes to treating things. I don't buy all these medical companies that try to, sell I've told them all to go pound sand. I don't want you spending money on that stuff. If you want to, for your peace of mind, fine. I have all that stuff too. I've had it I bought all the fish stuff. It just sits there because I have this. Okay. Learn what, there's in fact, there's some, I saw just down the road, there's a whole bunch of red clover popping up. Red clover. That's great too. I also learned I was reading this morning and I was like, I looked at peach leaves, peach tree leaves. Absolutely fantastic. I got a peach tree out there I'm about to cut down, but I'm going to save a bunch of the leaves. I'm going to tincture that and I'm going to save some of the bark. Once I read about what peach tree leaves can do. There's just so many great things in here that has been lost. So much has been lost. And it really is just one of the reasons why we find ourselves in the situation we do today, with our country just being so dumb that stupid has to hurt. Last thing I'll mention to you is, hey, listen, I'm wearing the Shepherd's Crook coffee shirt today. Usually I wear my Stupid to Hurt shirt or one of the other shirts that we sell for our Teespring merch, because if we had more hurt in this world, we'd have an awful lot less stupid. But if you're in need of a coffee supplier, you can find Shepherd's Crook down below. I think you get a 25% off your first order. I'm on the subscription, so comes in every month and a half or so, whenever it does. So anyway, what are your thoughts about old Billy Boy? Old Billy Boy. He's having hard times. He's having a hard time convincing everyone to eat his fake meat. Be a producer, guys. See you next time in the Homestead. Bye. Have you ever gone to a health food store and seen all those small bottles of probiotics in your cooler section? Man, can they be pricey. Are you really getting all you need to improve your gut health from those expensive bottles? How viable are they? Most of those products claim to give you between 8 and 15 strains of gut-healthy healing bacteria. Think of each strain of bacteria as a different factory in your gut. Each factory is responsible for breaking down that food in its own way. The more factories you have, the more the food is broken down and the easier the food is absorbed and digested by the body. A 2018 study published by the National Library of Medicine shows that one fermented head of cabbage can produce up to 114 strains of beneficial bacteria. That's a lot more food factories than you're getting from that expensive pill bottle. And that's just cabbage. Imagine the probiotics when you add garlic, onions, pepper, and more to that ferment. PerfectPickler.com and its home fermentation kits provide you with everything you need to get started making your own gut-healthy food factories from the comfort of your own kitchen. PerfectPickler.com even provides a jam-packed recipe book with many of our kits. Visit PerfectPickler.com and start fermenting your own veggies to begin your journey to better gut health. That's PerfectPickler.com.
Hey guys, did you know you can become a patron of an American Homestead? They get access to private videos, and we send them gifts from the Homestead that we make here on the Homestead. And we also enter our patrons into special giveaways that are only available to them. And before you go, please check out these other great videos. Go ahead, click. I'll wait.